Christmas, you filthy animal.
Hi, you guys. How you doing? So sorry that I gave you epileptic seizures, coolest reviews, and I'm also sorry that I was late. Let the record reflect. What had happened was I was. This is not even an exciting story. I fell down a Casey Anthony rabbit hole. Remember, I told you guys I watched that docu series, and I was annoyed by it, mainly because, listen, I recognize first and foremost that the docu-series was going to be told from Casey Anthony's perspective, right? Like that was the deal, that was the shtick. I got it, right? But what I didn't appreciate is lies. I I guess they're not even really lies. Well, they're lies, and they twisted it. You know what I mean? They skewed it in a way where it's not an outright lie, right? But it's not the entire truth. And I don't like that, especially when I know that there are documents available to the public that disprove the majority of the things that she claimed. And I'm speaking about like the actual case, not the stuff with George or with her brother. I'm sorry, you guys. I have no inclination in any way, shape, or form to to even address that because, quite honestly, there's no way to prove or disprove that. The only way I suppose to prove or disprove it would be for George Anthony to um, like sue her. You know what I'm saying? For defamation. And really, well, they talked about this on Law and Crime. Or no, 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 I lied. Vinnie Politan, which is weird because they had two like things for it, two thumbnails. And the first one I clicked on, I was like, I don't know what made me click on the first one, probably because it was the freaking first one. Anyway, I didn't I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't see. Oh wait, this isn't what I want. Hold on. I did not see that this is the one I want. I didn't see that it was only like, oh wait, that's not the one I want. A minute and 24 seconds or whatever. So when I played it, Vinny was like out of sorts. It cut him off. It was really weird. So then I found the right one, which was the longer one that was like, I don't know, 20 minutes or whatever. But anyway, he had Ben Chew up there, and he was talking about like a potential defamation lawsuit, which I thought was fascinating, to be quite honest with you. But to be even then, I don't want to address it. It is what it is. I mean, it's not, to me, it's not like pertinent to the case that way. You know what I mean? I think we can discuss the facts around the case without discussing that. I think, I hope, because I have no desire to do that. So I fell down that rabbit hole, and then I was like, oh hell, I got to start my life. So then, excuse me, I go to the laptop, and I'm like, shaking the mouse, doing all the things, and everything's just like moving at a snail's pace, like it's dial up internet. For a minute, I was bracing myself to hear the thing that they do. You know what I'm saying? It was so annoying. And then I was like, ugh. Okay, so that was what had happened. All right. Now, let's talk about what happened today in this case. So, what the frack? Um, what happened was there was quite a bit, and I actually, what the um I've been watching the trial, but I kind of wanted to, because there's all right. So they had to put on the um interrogation video in its entirety, right? So there was that. So I was trying to like get it to where we could like highlight it. You know what I'm saying? Just get to the highlight reel because there's a lot of, and the reason they had to do it is because the whole defense is that the interrogation was given, it was coercive in nature. But the way that they feel, the way the defense is saying that it was I can't even talk, coercive. Jeez, Jen. Lord. It feels like a Monday and it's a friggin' Tuesday. Anyway, the way that in which it was coercive is there were parts of the interrogation where, like, um, Ortiz says, if you take my handcuffs off, I'll talk, right? And then, they talk about, the detectives talk about, we're not going to kick in your door. We're not going to ransack your kids, stuff and destroy your house. And yeah, we can work on getting you that picture of your wife and kids that you want. Right. So the defense is like, that's a essentially quid pro quo. And what they'll do, what you're asking, right? The detectives will, but they want you to give them a confession, which isn't entirely accurate, but that was their premise, right? So of course they had to play the whole thing. And their other premise hinged on the the kidnapping victim, Erica Pena. And so what I thought we would do is watch her testimony and then we'll get to the actual meat and potatoes of the actual confession where it finally happened. But what ended up happening today is the defense. Okay, so they're going. The last thing that was played were phone calls from the jail between defendant Ortiz and his wife. And I gotta say, they were kind of sad because there's a phone call between them, and then there's the next phone call, and his kids are on the phone. And kids don't know. You know what I mean? And that was just sad, not for him. I don't feel sad for him, but I felt sad for the kids. I don't know. I'm getting soft in my old age. It is what it is. But anyway, so after that, they take a break, and then the prosecution freaking rests. And I was like, what? So then the state rests, and the judge turns to the defense, and the defense rests. And then the judge turns to the state and says the state closes. And then he turns to the defense and they say the defense closes. So now what we're up to now is tomorrow will be closing arguments and then it'll go to the jury. And I got to tell you guys, I have zero idea how to call this one. I mean, there's the whole confession. They tried to get the stuff that was found in his truck. The defense tried to get that thrown out because they said that they didn't have a search warrant, and you are allowed to look, right, what's out in the open. What do they call it? I'll have to think about it because obviously clearly words are not my forte today. But anyway, they were trying to get the stuff that was removed from the Dodge Ram, or the Dodge Ram removed or whatever, or thrown out, right? Not admitted into evidence, and the judge denied that because the state said he abandoned his vehicle. When he took off running, he abandoned the vehicle, and therefore under Texas state law, we don't have to get a search warrant. We can, like, whatever. So there was that. Anyhow, so that's that. But what I wanted to show you guys is, because so much, Erica was the only one that survived, okay? And I'm not going to play like the medical examiner's testimony because we're going to talk about that. All right, so before I start, let's talk about that. So let me see if I can put it up as an overlay. Give me just a second, because her picture is up here. So I'll show you right here. And it's interesting because I thought that I heard this in the confession, but I wasn't 100% sure, and the closed captions didn't pick it up. Okay, so see here, the last victim here. This is Humberto Janelle. I forget the last name. Okay, well, when I first started looking at this case, Humberto is a male name. And I kind of like thought, and then they had in quotes Janelle, right? And I thought during his confession, he said that derogatory word that people use for transgender. And then it was confirmed when the medical examiner got up and took the stand and testified, because she was referring to Janelle as he, which I think for government agencies as like a medical examiner, they might have plain view. Thank you, Anita. Yes, plain view. I could not, bless your heart. Couldn't think of the word. So I I I I don't, for me, I don't know the legalities of that, like how they have to legally refer to the decedent. Do they refer to the decedent? I would imagine, and this is probably what happened, that they refer to the decedent by the name that is on their government issued either driver's license or photo ID, right? So I think it has to be, that's why I think had Umberto their changed to Janelle on all the legal documents, I think that the medical examiner would have referred to her as her by the correct pronoun. I don't think that it was slight. I don't think it was intended to be transphobic. However, what Ortiz said was very transphobic, and I did not appreciate it. Let me say hi to you guys before I even get into all of this. Good. Hey, Allie. Hey, Corky. Amelia Sparkles. Sam. Coolest reviews. Cement shoes. Coolest. Are you recovered from your epileptic seizure? I hope so. They're no joke. I had epilepsy as a kid. I hope you're all right. Who else has I got in here? Shamida. Hello. Samuel Sparkles. Sam. Anita. Hi. Okay. Did everybody give their girl a thumbs up? I'm going to start being like some of these other creators I see out here on these streets. I'm not going to continue unless I get likes. Just kidding. I would never be like that. If you thumbs it up, you thumbs it up. If you don't, you don't. Whatever. Okay. So let's go back to the very beginning of the case. Okay. And let's listen to Erica's testimony. Also, for those of you who are interested, George Washington Wagner the Fourth's sentencing hearing is December 19th. So we will be live for that. Mark your calendars. Maybe we should have like a little friendly wager. Do you think, not wager, I don't know what to say. Do you think that Mr. Wagner will be showing up in his usual ensemble, wherein he wears the vest, the Undertaker vest, which is unfortunate, so apropos, it's gross. Anyhow, or do we think that he will be showing up in his pumpkin spice jumpsuit. All right, here we go. I'm pretty sure this is her. Let me just like rewind it 10 seconds and see. Let me call her. All right. I want to get. I think he makes a face when they call her. I can't remember. Hey, almost got it. All right, here we go. I find it. I found it. All right. I don't know what's wrong with me today, guys. You're just going to have to be patient. I'm sorry. I'm not on my game today. I don't know what my damage is. Hey, Ken's chick. You have an appointment. No, ma'am. Your appointment is here. There you go, Shmita. We can have a friendly whatever. Doesn't go against YouTube's terms of services bet. No money is going to be exchanged or nothing like that. It's just a little, what do you think? I clicked the wrong thing. I am broken today. I should just go back to bed and start this day all the way over. Your appointment is a key, ma'am, and you're here, so you're on time for your right appointment. No, I'm just kidding. If you gotta go, you gotta go. I appreciate you popping in, babe. You know that. I'll catch you again. All right. Let me add this to the stream. All right, bye. Have a good appointment. Okay, here we go.
Stay, want to call their first witness?
I'm going to go refill my drink. I will be right back. Behave. Shmita, you're in charge.
She was one of the first. You're under the same oath you took earlier, ma'am? You're under the same oath. Maybe seated. You took an oath a few minutes ago, right?
What?
The oath.
Yes.
You're under the same oath. You may be seated. You may proceed, sir.
Ms. Pena, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Erica Isamar Peña.
I'm going to ask you to please speak or get up close to the mic or move the mic close to your mouth. Please listen to my questions. Answer the questions to the best of your ability. Okay. How old are you?
31.
And where are you from?
Laredo, Texas.
How long have you lived in Laredo?
Born and raised.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
1.
Okay. And how old is your child?
12.
Okay. Does your child live with you?
Not right now.
Ms. Pena, do you have a criminal record?
Yes, I do.
I want to talk a little bit about it. Do you know more or less how many times you've been arrested?
Several times.
Is it more than 5?
Yes.
More than 10?
Yeah.
More than 15?
Not sure.
Okay. You ever been arrested for possession of a controlled substance?
Yes.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen jury what type of controlled substance you've been arrested for?
Probably cocaine or heroin.
And did at any of these cases have they ever resulted in a conviction? You ever been found guilty?
Yes.
Okay. And after you were convicted, have you ever been in prison?
No, never.
Okay. What type of sentence have you received?
I was in probation for 2 years. Not too long ago, I just finished.
Are you currently under any type of supervision or probation right now?
No, I'm done with everything.
Okay. What, you ever been arrested for assaulting a police officer, resisting arrest, or terroristic?
Yes.
Yes. What about resisting arrest?
Yes.
What about terroristic threats?
Yes.
Um, what about any violent offenses? You ever been?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you suffer from any type of addiction, Ms. Pena?
No, not right now.
Okay. Have you before?
Yes.
And what type of addiction is that?
Heroin and crack.
Okay. Can you tell us or tell the jury? Well, let me ask you, are you sober right now?
I take methadone.
How long have you been on methadone?
I've been in the methadone a year, almost a year.
And where do you get that methadone?
By McPherson?
Do you receive services?
Yes.
Okay. When was the last time you were arrested? If you recall.
Probably like 6 or 5 months ago. Probably 6 months.
Was that a misdemeanor or a felony?
Revoked for probation.
Okay, so you were revoked for not
Yeah.
Not complying with your conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. And what does that entail? More drug use, or you came out dirty?
No, I just didn't go. I just didn't go and report.
Okay. How long have you been dealing with this issue of substance abuse, or how long have you abused heroin, crack cocaine?
I started when I was 21, on and off.
And you're 31 right now?
I'm 31.
So is it fair to say that for 10 years you've been dealing with this
Yes.
issue? Okay. And how were you able to support this addiction?
many ways. Working in the streets, that was one.
No, it's okay, Miss Pena. And I know this may be difficult, but when you say working the streets, what? Please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that means.
Escorting,
Escorting.
yes.
And when you say escorting, what does that mean?
Um, Working for money,
And when you say working for money,
having sex
for money.
for money, yes.
Okay. And how long had you been doing that?
Um, on and off, 6 years.
You started in your early 20s?
I started when I was 23.
Now, on September the 14th of 2018,
Yes,
that was a few years ago now, right?
yes,
Were you working at that
yes,
and doing that?
yes,
Okay. Do you know why you're here today?
yes,
Do you know a person by the name of Juan David Ortiz
yes.
or David Ortiz? Can you identify him here in the courtroom or what he's wearing? You can please point to him. Do you see him
Yes, in
And-
black.
in black? And from where you're sitting, he's seated in which chair?
In the corner.
In the corner. Okay. So, what do you know him as?
What did I knew him as?
Yes.
David was a friend.
Okay. Now, in September of 2018, you remember that day?
September.
September the 14th of
Yes,
2018.
I do.
Do you remember that day? I want to go back to that day. Okay. So you're in September. Before that,
Yeah.
how long had you known David?
I want to say 5, 6 months.
So you knew him as early as 5 or 6 months before.
No, I want to say 5
Okay.
months, 6 months.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Okay. And since the first time you met him, he was a client?
I guess you can say that.
Okay.
The first time.
Okay. I want to focus now on what happened on the 14th, okay?
Hmm.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury on that day, where were you?
On San Bernardo.
Okay. And on San Bernardo.
Yeah, it was a very rainy day.
Okay. And what were you doing, or what were your thoughts?
I was standing up actually. Um,
Okay, because it's been a few minutes since we've talked about this case, and I haven't streamed about it very much. Okay, hi, I've learned a lot. Good to see you, babe. Let me give you a little backstory on Mr. Ortiz here. Okay, so the deal is this: Mr. Ortiz worked as a border patrol agent. Now, like 9 months, I think. No, he was there for 9 years, but he had recently, and I can't remember exactly the time frame of when he became when he got into a supervisory position. But when these murders happened, he was a supervisor. But before that, he used to get information from the girls. He used them. Okay. And so I don't, somewhere along the line of, I don't, to me, something doesn't quite add up. And I don't mean like he's innocent. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is it almost seems like the girls that he targeted in this case were girls that had helped him. And I think that maybe he was afraid they were going to tell. But anyway, hi Tony. At somewhere along the line, he developed a different attitude for them. Although he would engage in relations with them for money, right? And he would take them to purchase their drugs of choice, right? Then, yeah. So, trying to think of how to. I know what's going on. I just don't know how to say it in a way that will be okay with you two, right? Okay. So, at some point in all of this, he started to see these women as less than and a nuisance, and he felt that it was. He would go to he said he went to law enforcement and he would tell them that they needed to clean the streets up, and but they wouldn't do it, and so he decided to take matters into his own hands. Now, when we get to after she testifies, we're going to get to his confession and his explanation for why he unalived some, what the circumstances surrounding the unaliving of these women doesn't actually make sense. He is really diminishing his role in it. So, but I wanted you guys to hear from Erica because she would have been had she not escaped, she would have been the third victim. There would have been a total of 5. But as it was, she escaped. And when she escaped, they were at a gas station, and she informed a highway patrolman who was filling up his vehicle. And at that point, David had booked. Like, she got out, she escaped from the vehicle. Bless her heart, she was not wearing a shirt. She was only in her bra and her pants. And David had already bounced, and there was like a be on the lookout for a bolo, right, on his vehicle and him. And somehow or another, he managed to evade law enforcement. I feel like it was another couple of, maybe a day, 24 hours, something like that. But in that time, he unalived 2 other women. So I wanted us to hear from her because, bless her heart, she's doing the best that she can. But I wanted her to tell her experience so we can get, an idea into what these victims went through, what they're, sad. Especially because I have to be really honest. This would have been a case, first of all, it's Texas. So of course I would have paid attention, just like I'm paying attention to the other trial that's going on in Texas right now. And by the way, the victim's nephew who was there, he was a witness it was an officer who shot a woman, and he's on trial for it in Texas, a Fort Worth officer. Anyway, the nephew testified, and he was adorable. He did so well. He was such a brave little guy. But yeah, I'm not going to really cover that one because it's one of those cases. So that kind of gets, political and stuff. And you guys know how I feel about that. I just want to talk about the cases. I don't want to talk about politics and any of that kind of stuff. I just want to talk about true crime. However you vote, as long as you vote or don't vote, that's between you. That's why I don't talk about it. You know how I feel about, religion and politics. That's not something we discuss over here at the ward. But I would have followed this case, but it was not talked about. And to be honest with you, I think the only reason it's being talked about now is because of the trial and because the trial has been streamed. That's it. And I think that's unfortunate for these victims. I think it's really sad. And the other thing about David Ortiz is that in his capacity as a Border Patrol agent, he was somewhat in the loop of the investigation that was going on surrounding these murders. It's because he was a Border Patrol agent. He worked in law enforcement. It's just sad. It's gross. All right, here we go.
a block from TKO, right in a small motel.
Near a bus stop?
Yes,
And was it nighttime?
it was daylight.
Still daylight?
Yeah, it was daylight.
Was it starting to get late in the afternoon?
No, it was early.
Okay. And what if anything happened at that time?
I hadn't seen David in a while. I was mad because David had broken my phone. I was staying at a hotel.
How long had you been at the hotel?
Like a month.
Okay. Before that day, had you been working the days before?
Mm, yeah,
Which days before that?
probably in the middle of the night,
Mhm.
not too early.
Had you heard anything about anybody being found dead?
By that time,
Yeah.
yes,
And how did you feel about that?
scared because nobody knew who it was.
How did you?
Everyone was, all the girls were watching their backs, and the word was around.
That's good. Let's wait for the next question. Just answer the question.
I'm gonna
Oh,
ask
okay.
you. How did you feel?
Frightened.
When you say the girls, who are you referring to?
Um, Jocelyn, Suhey,
Are these other girls that work?
Patty.
Okay. And these are girls that also work on the street.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're standing or seated right there at that corner.
Yeah.
What if anything happens next?
What if anything happens?
Yeah, well, you said it was starting to rain or it was
Yeah.
raining. Okay.
David picked me up. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when he drove up, what did he drive up in?
In his white Dodge.
My approach. My approach, Your Honor?
Amelia, you read my mind. I was just thinking the same thing. Let me speed her up just a scotch.
Just ask you if you recognize this exhibit, yes or no?
Yes.
And it very accurately depict what's in there. Is it a true representation of what
Yeah.
what it is?
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty too. And I hope that she's successful in her sobriety.
Tell us what you see in front of you on State's Exhibit 1.
I see a white Dodge.
And who does that white Dodge belong to?
David.
Have you been in
And
that
she's
white
doing
Dodge?
good and staying clean and all that.
I don't recall how many times exactly, but plenty of times.
Was it more than 5?
I think so, yes.
More than 10?
Several times. Plenty of times.
Had he ever picked you up in any other vehicle than this one?
No.
How is it that you would arrange to see David?
How is it that
How would you meet up with David?
sometimes he would call me, sometimes I would just randomly see him?
So you knew David for close to 5 months.
Yes.
Do you remember how you met?
Yeah.
How did you meet?
I met him a block away from the Evelyn. It was nighttime.
You met him a block away from the Evelyn. The
The
Evelyn.
hotel, the
Okay.
hotel, a
That's
block away.
okay. That's on
Especially
the
with
corner.
with
Remember the
heroin,
street
I
corner?
learned a lot. That's a hard monkey.
It's in the corner of the Stripes.
Is that Jefferson Street? Jefferson
Yeah.
to San Bernardo?
Yeah.
And did someone introduce you to him?
No.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen how you met him.
I was walking, and David stopped, asked me for a ride, and I said yes. We talked for a little bit, and that first night we ended up in a hotel.
And what, if anything, did you do at the hotel?
We had sex. We conversated.
Did he give you money?
Yes.
How much?
I don't recall.
After having sex and conversating, what, if anything, else happened
He drove me home.
to your house?
Yeah.
So he knew where you lived.
Yes.
Okay. How was David? What was his personality like?
Very nice. Very sweet. Very funny. Normal guy.
Did you ever notice any odd behavior,
Never.
delusions?
I don't know what happened to him.
But you need to answer my question. I know you're nodding your head, but did you ever notice delusions,
No.
hallucinations,
No.
that his mind was not normal?
No. Never.
Did you ever see him depressed?
No. Not that I recall.
Did you ever see him have anxiety in front of you?
No.
Anything unusual about
No.
David?
Never.
Okay. Would David do drugs with you?
No.
But he would take you to the drug house.
I agree,
And who would pay
Corky.
for the drugs?
David would give me money.
He would wait for you outside.
Yeah.
And what would tell us typically how does that work?
David knew my drug of choice, and he would wait for me outside, and we would drive around, conversate.
Oh, I'm
Did
sorry,
you do
I've
that on
learned a
this day,
lot.
September the 14th? Did he take you to buy drugs? After he
Yes.
picked you up? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you um did you go and buy beer?
Yes.
Anything else that you bought?
Cigarettes and beer.
You mentioned the Evelyn Hotel.
Yeah.
Did you ever go there with him to the Evelyn
No.
Hotel? Do you remember what hotels you went with him to?
Only one, Cactus. The
Was that-
Cactus.
Okay.
Yes.
Was that on several occasions to the Cactus? Or just once?
I recall once.
Okay. On the other times that he would pick you up, where would you go?
Sometimes we would just drive, park in any street, go to a park. Um,
On September the 14th, what did you do after you bought the drugs?
Just trying to get in.
we went to a store. I got off. I changed. It was raining. He told me we were going to his house.
Did you buy anything there at the store?
I bought beer and cigarettes,
Who was it beer for?
but like
For who?
for David,
And what did you buy?
cigarettes for me and him.
The beers, what type of beers were they?
But like
Okay. Were they the small beers or the big beers?
just regular
Tollies?
tollies. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a purse with you on that day?
I had a small purse, a flower purse,
Remember what color it was?
pink.
Okay. I approach on. I'm going to show you. Exhibits 2, 3, and 4. And once again, I'm going to ask you to just look at them. Go in and hold these and flip through them and see if the pictures are accurate.
I just feel awful for her.
Yeah, I recall my
Well,
bag.
before that, can
I'm
you look at-
sorry,
can you look
Corky.
at-
It's sad how many people we know. You know what I mean?
Are those exhibits accurate?
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yes,
I've
you
learned a lot.
recognize those items in the exhibits.
I'm sorry
Everything's
for
from
all
that.
of your losses. I am.
You
I know.
recognize
You're
those
about to
exhibits.
block a bunch of people with that tail of yours. Let's move that.
I'm going to show you States Exhibit 2. For the record, you offer them. Yes, I'll offer them into evidence, Your Honor.
Exhibit 2, 3, and 4, you said?
Yes, sir.
They'll be there.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what's in Exhibit 2? What do you recognize from that photo?
My handbag, my pink flowered handbag.
Can you also see it in this picture?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you have in that handbag?
I had condoms, some syringes, and I don't recall what else I had in there. It's been a while.
Did you have that bag on September the 14th when David picked you up?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What else do you see in here?
The tollies.
The Tollies, are those the 3 Bud Lights that you bought for David?
Yeah.
After you bought the Polly's, what if anything happened next?
We drove to his house.
Did you agree to go to his house?
Yeah.
Okay. Had you been to his house before?
Yes.
And you remember where he lived?
Yeah.
What part of the city was it on?
North side.
The north side?
Yeah.
I'm gonna approach. When I approach again, I'm gonna ask you. If you look at these exhibits, I'm gonna mark these for identification purposes as exhibits 5 and 6.
I don't know if they ever even show these exhibits, to be honest with you.
Just if you recognize it.
I'd like to see them, but
Not this
Not this one. Okay. Do you know what it is though inside there?
I-
Yeah. Oh, yes, I recognize it.
So do you recognize it or not?
Yes, I do.
Okay. This is exhibit 5. I'm gonna also ask you the same thing about State's exhibit 6.
Yes.
You recognize that?
and you know what I think is extra sad about this whole case, is, and especially with her, is that she trusted him. Yeah, Alice is here on the mic. She's just sitting in my lap, and can you hear her purring? And she likes to claw my thigh. It hurts so bad when she does it. Her love is very painful. Yeah, that's Alice. Coolest reviews. No, it's not the dog. Nestor had got a Manny and a Petty today.
On this receipt here, on the 6th,
Aww,
I mean, can
that's
you read
so
out? Just any
cute.
receipt that
Let me push pause because I don't want you
Powerade,
guys to miss
Marble,
this.
Bud Light.
But you know, if you go over to Angela's Clips and Giggles, I tagged her in a community post. She made a community post of her cat named Dexter. And for a second, I was like, how did Angela get a picture of Alice? They look exactly alike. So weird. It's completely irrelevant to what we're talking about. So let's keep going.
And
Stay on
$100
task,
bill
Jen.
they
Stay on
gave me.
task.
Do you see the date on it?
Where?
I mean, I'm asking
On the receipt.
Now this is Cross.
Trying to see.
They barely even asked her about that day. Don't you think that's, I don't know. I've never seen
Down here.
proceedings quite like
September
this
14,
one.
2018.
Okay, you recognize this receipt from back
Yeah.
then, or you're guessing?
No, I
Yeah,
went inside
she
that
is
store. I
pretty
changed it. I
hero.
bought what I bought, and I gave him his
And
change
she
back.
knows it.
Thank you.
That's what's wrong. She's spoiled rotten.
Right. States exhibits 5 and 6 are admitted into evidence at this time for the jury's consideration.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
you
wait.
just answered it, but
Okay, I forgot to explain something. That wasn't Cross. This happened repeatedly during the trial, and it was very confusing. And I've watched trials in Texas before. I've never seen it done this way. But anytime there's any exhibits that they want to introduce into evidence from the state, okay, what happens is the defense attorney gets up, like with the photographs, and he asks questions of the witness, and then he will decide based on her answers to those questions whether he's going to object to the evidence being submitted or not. I've never seen that before, ever. You are so spoiled. Please take your claws out of my thigh. That hurts.
Bought Bud Light, Powerade, and cigarettes.
how many Bud Lights did you buy?
Oh, Amelia, you have a. I know what you meant,
I
coolest.
have David gave me
She's
a
petty though
$100 bill.
too, so
And what did you do with the change?
fits.
I gave it back.
I'm going to show you State's exhibit 6.
Yes.
What is that?
David's house.
You went there that night? September the 14th of
Yes.
2018? And prior to that night, had you been there before?
Yes, I have.
He had taken you there before.
Yes.
Do you drive, Ms. Pena?
I know. Yeah, I know how to drive.
Do you have a car?
No.
Have you ever driven to this place yourself?
No.
How did you previously get to this house?
David picking me up.
Okay, now I want to say something really quick before I forget. So, when they played the phone calls between David and his wife, the last phone call they played was from 2020. And Alice, you little turd. And so when they did that, all I could think about was, this is not anything against Erica. This is absolutely against David. But the fact that he brought Erica, that was not her first time going to his house. She'd been to his house a few times before. And I just thought, when I listened to the phone conversation between him and his wife, I felt awful for her because he just disrespected her on every level. He, his kids, they've got children together. I mean, and then on top of it, what he did to these women and to their families, it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. And I'm not even mad at the defense attorney. I'm one of those people that understands and actually respects defense attorneys, even Jose Baez, because they took an oath as an officer of the court when they got their license to practice, that they would vigorously defend their client, right? And even when your client is Casey Anthony, that's difficult. You know what I mean? Gacy's lawyer, Dahmer's lawyers, they all had to do it. Every lawyer, I don't know if every lawyer, but any lawyer that has had to have a client at that level, even, there's, where I'm going with this. I don't know. I actually thought that David's attorney actually advocated very well for him. There's a spicy exchange with the Texas Ranger that was in the interrogation room, and maybe I'll play a little bit of that if we have time tonight. But I just really wanted you guys to hear Erica's story because I thought it was important.
So you get to his house. What exactly happens when you get there?
What is happening here?
I sit on the corner of the table
Where?
in the
In what part of the house?
next to the kitchen.
Okay. Is there anybody home at this time?
No, just me and him.
Okay. Do you know if David's married?
Yeah, I knew.
Okay. Where was his wife?
I'm thinking McAllen
Okay. Do you know if he has children?
too,
Okay. Where were his children?
with the baby mama.
Okay. Had he told you they were out of town or?
Yeah.
You're sitting at the table in the corner near the kitchen. What, if anything, are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yes.
Dissolving the heroin. I shoot up.
And what if anything happens next?
David goes to the bathroom, comes out with a mouthwash
A mouthwash for you or for him?
for me.
Okay. Do you use
No, I didn't use it.
Okay.
He had asked me to take a shower before having sex.
Were you able to have sex with him?
No, we didn't have sex that night.
Up until this point, was everything okay? Up
As
until-
soon as we entered the house, David wasn't himself anymore. I saw him just not himself, very nervous.
how did
Their
how did he begin to become
yikes
nervous? What were you all, if anything, talking
in
about?
a weird way, Amelia.
We're talking about some other stuff. Then all of a sudden he said that
not in
he
not
was
in the
afraid that they would
yikes
check
way
his
that you
DNA
would think
because
they
he
would
was
be.
second to last to be with Melissa. And
What was your response to that?
Look at that face he
I
made.
told him that if he didn't have nothing to do, he shouldn't be scared.
So what
But-
else? What, if anything, do you do next to calm him down? Do you stay there in the kitchen?
I started shaking. He noticed me when I got scared.
Okay. And what do you do next? Where do you go?
I'm grabbing the cigarettes, shaking.
Okay. You
I
grab the
asked-
cigarettes? And
Huh?
You said you grab the cigarettes.
Yeah.
And do you stay in the kitchen or do you go somewhere
No,
else?
I asked him if he goes with me to smoke outside.
Okay.
And we're outside, and
What, if anything, happens while you're outside?
what if anything happens?
Yeah. What else happened when you were outside?
I sat on a chair because by that time I felt scared. I didn't want to give him my back. Um,
Did you have your phone with you?
no. I had asked him inside if I could call my mom, and
Okay.
Same.
You didn't have a phone.
no, I did not have a phone at that
At,
time.
at any time that you were there, did you attempt to call anyone?
I asked him if I could call my mom.
Did you call your mom?
No,
Why not?
I think he said, "Hold on, I'll lend it to you in a bit."
So he ignored your request.
He ignored my, yeah.
Do you stay outside or do you go back in?
We're outside, and I tell him I forgot something in the truck, and I head towards the front door, and as soon as I step outside, I start vomiting because I felt very nauseous, very nervous.
Why were you feeling nauseous? Why were you feeling nervous?
I don't know. I just felt scared and nauseous.
What were you scared of?
I just got this feeling.
What feeling? What was David doing that made you scared?
Oh, you ordered us leaving.
What if
Thank you,
anything?
Trace.
Okay, what if anything caused you to get scared?
When he said he was second to last, that kept me thinking
Thinking what?
that maybe he was the one
He was the one that what?
that had been murdering.
That was in your head?
That was in my head, yeah, because he had never been nervous.
Okay. After you throw up, what happens next?
I think I tell him that maybe it's because I had not ate anything all day.
And then what happens next?
He says we'll stop somewhere to grab a burger.
Okay. Do you leave his house?
We both get in the truck. I think he locked the house and got inside the truck. And
Before you left his house, did you complete the act of having sex with him?
no,
But you were there for that.
yeah,
How many times?
I don't recall.
How many times have you been with David sexually?
I don't recall.
Is it more than 5?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. When you had sex with him, was it intercourse or oral sex or what kind of sex?
Oral sex, foreplay.
Mhm. Let's see his picture. Had you ever seen David without his clothes on?
Yes.
Without his clothes on?
Without his shirt, yeah.
When you would have sex, you would be both
The
naked?
first time we went into his house, we laid on his couch.
Oh dear.
Did David have any markings on his body?
2 tattoos, 2 hummingbirds
Okay.
in his chest.
Okay. Any other tattoos that you recall him having?
Mainly those 2.
Okay.
I thought so too, Amelia. That's what I thought but I think it was a combination of both because I noticed she doesn't actually talk about whether she actually ended up shooting up or
I've been with
not.
David before. Just ask you if you. I'm showing you Exhibit 7. Do you recognize what's in that photo? You need to answer verbally.
Yes.
And is it an accurate photo of how he looked around that time?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you Exhibit number 8. Is that also an accurate picture?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with what's in that photo?
Another tattoo.
Are you familiar with what's in that photo?
A tattoo.
The answer is yes or no. Are you
Yes.
familiar with what's in that
Yes.
photo? Okay. And he had these markings
Yes.
on that day.
Yes.
And you're offering them
I'm offering them.
Exhibit 7 and 8 are admitted into evidence at this time.
So you remember and you testified, you can tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Exhibit 7. Now you can talk about the tattoos. What are the tattoos that he...
They look like 2 hummingbirds, dos chuparrosas.
Chuparrosas?
Para mí se ven como 2 chuparrosas.
So what you're saying is to you, they look like 2 hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds, yeah, to me.
What else does he have?
A flag. a son.
Did he have those tattoos with you or on his body when he was with you?
Yeah.
This is Exhibit 8. Have you seen that tattoo before?
Yes.
And that was when you guys were
Together.
together. Okay. 1 through 8. Can I publish 1 through 8 to the jury, Your Honor?
Look at how he's looking at her.
So you're going to go get a hamburger. Tell us what happens next.
David parks behind a tractor and just says, "Wait, hold on." Pulls out a gun,
When you say tractor, is that a tractor?
a trailer.
Tractor trailer?
Tractor, yeah.
Like an 18-wheeler? Like one of these?
No, like a truck driver.
Oh, a truck driver, a big
Yeah,
tractor
yeah.
that pulls a box.
Yeah.
And where does he, is this in front of the store?
Behind.
Behind the store.
Yes.
Okay. And why didn't he park in front of the store?
I don't know.
Okay. What, if anything, happens next?
As soon as he took out the gun, he just stared at me, didn't say anything. I opened the door.
Let's back up a little bit. How were you feeling when he stopped there behind the store?
Nervous.
Did he say anything to you?
No. I remember telling him if he could go drop me off.
Let me answer the question that's being asked, please.
Did you say anything to him?
If he could go drop me off
Drop you off
where he had picked me up.
So you wanted him to take you back
Yeah.
to where he picked you up on San Bernardo.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He didn't say anything.
So you're parked there. It's nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
You're behind the tractor, behind the store.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
Some way, somehow, I took off running without a shirt.
Before that, inside the truck, tell us about what you remember when he pulled the gun.
He's trying to grab me by my left shoulder.
Where did he get the gun from? Had you seen the gun?
I had not seen it. No.
What, if anything, did he do with the gun?
He just pointed it right at me.
When he pointed it at you, show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where he pointed to you.
Right here at my face.
Right at your, hold up your hand and show us how.
Just like this. With his left arm.
With his left arm,
Yeah.
he put the gun.
He
next to
is
your
staring
face.
at her.
Yeah.
What else, if anything, did he do while he's pointing the gun
With
at your
his
face?
right arm trying to hold me back from not getting off.
How did you get away?
I took off running. I snapped.
You got off the truck, you said, without your blouse.
Yeah.
What happened to your blouse?
I don't know.
How did you lose your blouse?
I don't even know. Everything happened so fast.
He stayed with your blouse?
I don't know.
Did you pull off your blouse?
Some way, somehow, I got out that blouse.
What did you do after you got off this truck?
I run to the store and there's a trooper. I'm crying hysterically.
I'm sorry? Repeat that.
I run to the store and there's a trooper putting gas.
Okay, and what do?
I go up to him.
What do you tell him?
That someone had just pulled out a gun at me.
What were you feeling at this time?
Nervous, shaking.
What did you tell the trooper, if you remember?
That we were at his house. And that we were at his house and I got scared. I ran outside. We went to the store.
Were you afraid he was going to hurt you?
Somewhere in my mind, I had those thoughts. I don't know how, but I did.
What did the trooper do after you asked him for help?
He's freaking out. He's freaking out.
The trooper's freaking out too?
He takes me to the police station.
What happens when you get to the police station?
I tell them my story.
Okay. Do you remember how many officers you were speaking to?
Like 3 or 4.
Okay. What do you tell them?
That that I knew David and that he had pulled out a gun at me.
Did you provide any other information about Dave?
Yeah, I told them where he lived.
Okay. And how were you able to tell them where he lived?
They took me and I pointed at his house.
Did you know the name of the street?
By that day, I don't remember now, but that day I did look at the streets and all I said is, remember this street.
Okay. So that night, the officers take you to the neighborhood and you point out the house.
Yeah, I recognize it right away.
Okay. After you show them the house, what happens next?
I think they start pulling up pictures and I said, yeah, that's him.
At that time, September the 14th of 2018, did you know where David worked?
Yeah,
Where did you know? Or
I
where,
knew he was a supervisor with Border Patrol.
okay. Did you know that from the very beginning? You met him 5 months
Not
before?
from the very beginning, no.
At the beginning, where did you think he worked? Did you know he was law enforcement the first time you met him?
No, not the first time, no.
Isn't
When did
that
you find out he was
interesting?
law enforcement?
One time when he took me to go score, he had the shirt inside out. He got off. And
He had a shirt inside out. Please describe to the jury, what does that mean?
the uniform inside out. And that's the day I found out. He told me that he was a Border Patrol.
And that she kept
Did you
dealing
also have
with
any
him.
personal
I
knowledge of
don't,
David?
which I'm not judging
client
her
of any
for.
of your
It's
friends?
him.
Excuse me?
That's
Did
what
you know
makes
David
me
was
believe
also a
that he
client of
used
some of
these
your friends?
girls. That he used the
Melissa.
fact
I
that,
didn't
that
know about
they
I
knew
didn't
he
know
was law
anything about the rest.
enforcement.
I knew
Do you
he
know
was
what I
friends
mean?
with Melissa.
You know how long he had been friends with Melissa?
Not exactly the time, no.
Did he ever talk to you about Melissa?
Yeah,
Do you know if he was seeing both you and Melissa
yeah,
at the same time?
yeah.
Around the same time?
Around the same time,
He
yeah.
was seeing both you, and do you know if he was also seeing Melissa?
Yes.
Do you know if he would take Melissa to buy drugs?
I don't,
Okay. If you know,
I don't recall that.
had you seen him picking up Melissa before on the boulevard?
I think before meeting him,
I think so. I
I
think
saw his
so too.
truck.
I've learned
He
a
used to
lot.
have
I think
short
he's
hair.
trying to
She was
intimidate
sitting
her.
under a tree. By that time, David didn't know who I was.
And
So
know,
he knew Melissa longer than you.
Yeah,
hang on just a sec.
Had you ever seen Melissa at the county jail?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, bless her heart. Look at her looking at him. You be strong. You be strong. So, what's interesting about this is now you would think, right, that because of what he does is in his line of work and what she does for her line of work, these two would be like oil and water, or like Superman and kryptonite, they don't mix. And not that he's Superman in this equation by any means at all, but they're on opposing sides of the law. There you go, Jen. That's how you say it. Anyway, but what I find is that's interesting about this is this to me lends credence to the fact that he used his position as as law enforcement to intimidate these girls, to intimidate these women. And I think that he thought that nobody would. I really think that he wasn't, because he didn't try to go after her. So when she gets out of her shirt, like I think if she had worn if she hadn't changed, I don't think she would have got away. But there was something about the shirt that she changed into, and she was able, to get out of it. But anyway, it's interesting to me that he didn't try to go after her, because in order for her to get to that trooper, she had to go around to the front of the store. Okay. And he didn't try to stop her. And I think the reason he didn't try to stop her is very simple. I don't think he thought she would be believed. I think he thought that if she was going to say what she was going to say, whatever she was going to say, and that he might get questioned, but that I think so. I've learned a lot, but that nobody would believe her over him. You know what I mean? So it's just the way I don't, just abused his position of authority. You know, it's just disgusting to me. But I like this face right here. Good for you, Erica. You shoot him, that side eye girl. He deserves it.
How long did you know Melissa?
Quite a while,
What is quite a while?
a couple of years.
Okay. Are you familiar?
And the girls look out for each other out there. You know what I mean? They know each other. They talk to each other. I remember when Eileen Warnos was arrested and testified and was on trial and all that, that she said that the cops knew that she was doing this stuff for a long time, and they just kind of let her do it until she unalived somebody that was actually like a good that these are her words that was an actual good person, right? And
9.
she also tells stories of
ask you
law
if
enforcement
you
picking
recognize-
her up and abusing her, and she had to take it because she didn't want to go to jail.
You recognize this
And a lot of people didn't believe her.
You know her?
From the streets, yeah.
You recognize the person? Exhibit 11.
Yeah.
You recognize the person? Exhibit 12.
Yes.
These women were all friends of yours.
Yeah.
He just thought nobody would believe her, and I can't play. I mean, I'm not going to play his defense attorney's opening statements because I understand that he has a job to do, right? And he did his job and he said what he said. I just don't happen to agree with what he said with respect to Erica Pena. And so I'm not even going to give him
Yes.
the time of day to play it. Like, I'm not doing it. I was just
A
so
year or
annoyed
two.
by it. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's supposed to be doing his job and he was doing his job, but I think there was a better way that he could have, than he did. I just didn't like it.
Years.
For years. Is she a friend?
Yeah, years. Since I started.
Since you started when you were 23?
23, yeah.
And did she also use drugs?
Yes.
What would you call her?
Chelly.
Shelly?
Yeah.
What about this person?
Janelle.
How long did you know Janelle?
Years.
Was she a friend of yours?
My best friend.
And would she also use drugs?
Yes.
Was she also arrested many times?
Yeah.
As your best friend, would you all hang out? Or what would you do?
Me and Janelle, the same. Walk. Make money.
Outside of that type of work, did you guys hang out?
Yeah. Janelle would go to my house.
What type of
Hang
person?
out. Funny.
That's the last question. What type of person she was?
Well, no, she doesn't get into.
Overruled on that question. You can. Or did you get into?
Janelle was funny.
Yeah, Janelle was funny, very caring, had a lot of friends.
Her personality.
Yeah, was outstanding.
Do you know Shelly's personality? How was she? Was she
Very calm.
a calm person? Was she peaceful?
Calm. Yeah, very calm.
Right?
And her person was Claudine.
Amelia?
Did you ever have
Oh,
any
well,
interactions?
yeah. Well, what he would do is
I don't recall
he
how
would
many
give
times,
them the
but,
money and then send them into the
couple of
houses,
times.
which is how he knew where the houses were
No.
at. You know what I mean?
What about Melissa? What kind of
Ugh.
person, was Melissa?
I want to look this up real
Funny.
quick, though, because there's something I want to look up really
Very
quick,
funny.
but not. I need
She was fun to
not
be
like
around.
this.
yeah,
Okay.
she would lighten up. She entered a room.
I want to continue where we left off, and that was when you said that once you showed him where he lived, you go back to the station. They show you pictures. They investigate the house. You said they show you a picture. You identify him as the person. And what happens after that?
Like 3-4 hours. He gets caught.
When he got caught, were you still there?
In the police station?
Yes.
Yes.
You were at the police station in a room.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have to do anything else that night?
No.
During the time that you knew that he was a law enforcement officer, did he ever at any time go and see you during his working hours?
I just answered that question. Yes.
When he would see, and I'm sorry I didn't hear if it was during his working hours. I know you said that had his shirt turned inside out, but during his working hours, he would go and see you.
When he would get out of work.
Okay. Any other times that you saw him, was he ever in any government vehicles?
No, never.
Okay.
Not vehicles.
Okay. Besides that one time when his shirt was turned inside out, did he ever go and visit you with any other type of uniform?
Not that I recall.
Okay. And the times that you went to his house, please describe his house to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Did he have a lot of furniture? Was it very little furniture? Was it
It was a nice house.
Did you see any family pictures there while you were there?
I don't recall family pictures.
Did you ever see any photos on the stands, on the tables, the coffee table
I don't recall photos.
at all? The other time that you went to his house, where was his family, if you know?
Out of town.
How many times did you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury did he take you to his house?
Probably 2.
2 times before this last time?
Yeah.
And on those 2 other occasions, did you also have sex with him those times?
No, they
Never went
didn't.
to his house. No.
No, but those other previous times you were there, did you
I've learned
shower
a
there?
lot. Isn't
No.
that weird?
Did you have sex with him?
No.
Did
They,
you
I don't
perform
think
oral
they
sex on him
initially even thought they were
the
connected.
times that you went?
The first 2.
No.
Did he give you money?
Yes.
Other times, did you ever perform or have sexual activities with him in his vehicle?
Yes.
Where?
I'll be right back, you guys. But
In
I'll
the
be in
parking
chat.
area.
The parking area of what location?
Walmart. Behind the motel.
You also would go to the parks with him, you said.
Yeah.
Would this be during the day or would this be during the night?
Night.
How many times, if you recall, did he take you to go score, as you say it?
I don't recall.
He would pay for the drugs?
Yes.
We'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Please briefly. All right, so it's 1 p.m. We're gonna go ahead and take a lunch recess at this point. I'll ask everyone to please be back by 2:15. I understand there's a cafeteria here in the building, and then there's several restaurants nearby. So I'll ask you all to again remind you not to discuss the facts of the case with anyone, not to watch any news accounts or read any newspaper articles regarding this case. The previous instruction I've given you in the past. And Mr. Medina, can you please everyone?
All right, the jury.
Did you? So 2:15, please.
All right, I'm going to get part 2. Give me just 1 second. Hold on.
Pettis, and this is Raymond Cruz, and we represent Juan David Ortiz. And I previously met you because we had a hearing back on October the 3rd, 2019, correct?
All right, now I'll be
You recall
right
that?
back.
Yeah.
Okay, and just to get a history, you stated your drug addiction started when you were 21. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And how old are you now, man?
31.
And your child is 12
Yeah,
right now.
right now.
Now, back on October the 3rd of 2019, you were in a rehab facility when you testified in court. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And, you know, that's what, maybe 4 years ago? And today, are you in a rehab facility again?
No, I'm not in the rehab.
Okay, but you said you're on methadone.
I take methadone.
Okay, is that medically prescribed?
Yeah, that's medically prescribed.
Okay. And if you were in rehab back in 19, why do you need methadone today?
Why do I need methadone today?
Yes.
Because I would have my downfalls.
So I gather that the rehab wasn't successful back in 2019.
I guess you can say
Okay.
that.
And the prosecutor was asking you about what you did for a living, and in essence, it's prostitution.
Yes.
Would that be accurate?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to offend you, ma'am. I
No,
just
it's
want to make
okay.
sure I get to the point.
Yeah.
And this prostitution, and if you remember the testimony from last time, it's basically to support your drug habit.
Yes.
And your drug habit, you call them your DOC, your drugs of choice,
DOC, yeah.
is heroin
And
and
crack.
crack. You also do what's in the street called bars, which is Xanax.
Yes.
And that's not prescribed, right? That's stuff you buy on the street.
Yeah.
You also smoke some marijuana. Correct.
Not oftenly, but yes.
Okay. And then back then you also testified that your child, you saw him maybe sometimes every 6 months, sometimes
Her.
every 3 months, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said even though it's your child, a relative is raising your child.
Yes.
And I would imagine that part of that reason is because you do drugs.
Yes.
Now, when you say back on September the 14th of 2018 that you were scared because the murders had occurred, correct?
Yes.
But you weren't scared enough to stop prostituting because you were still out on the streets, right?
When?
Well, we know on September 14th
Yeah.
of 2018, you claimed that you were with Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
And according to your testimony, it was for prostitution.
Yes.
Okay. And we know because you testified that you have a daily habit.
That I had a daily habit.
Yes, I'm not saying right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking either 2018, 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
And so your daily habit consisted of maybe sometimes up to $300 worth of heroin, black tar on top of that
Yeah.
per day, correct?
Mhm.
And about $100 of crack cocaine.
Yes.
You would agree with me that that's a lot of drugs to use daily.
Yeah.
Right. And just, I don't know if everybody knows, but the heroin is the kind where you get a spoon, you heat it up, you put it in a syringe, and then you inject.
Yeah.
And then would it be fair to say then that you've been injecting yourself maybe for the last 10 years?
On and off.
On and off.
Yeah.
And the crack cocaine typically is smoked in a pipe.
Yeah, it's an upper.
You put it in a pipe, and the glass pipe or something like that, and you from what I read, you use a lighter and then you smoke it and it gets you high.
Yeah.
And you also testified that your modus operandi, if you will, in using drugs is you use crack in the morning or early to get you high, and then you use heroin in the afternoon to bring you down.
No, first heroin and then crack.
Okay. I thought you had testified the other way around, but regardless, you use both of them
Yeah.
daily, correct? Now, as compared to a guy that drinks every day or something like that, he's going to be hungover and he's going to be not feeling the greatest. I'm assuming that doing crack and heroin in those amounts is not the best thing for your body or your mental health.
Of course not. Yeah.
Okay. Now, back on September the 14th of 2018, you met, according to you and Mr. Ortiz, and you're the one that inquired about, had you heard about the murders of Melissa?
Yeah. When he picked me up.
But Ortiz didn't bring it up.
No, I brought it up.
And even though you were frightened, at the
Not at
murder-
that time.
Okay. At some point when you said he started acting differently, let's say, according to you.
When we got
I'm
to
sorry.
his house. When we got to his house. That was
Okay.
the first time he had ever acted off.
Okay.
Other than that, very normal.
But at that time, you were still getting high regularly.
Yeah, but to the point where I know what's going on. I was high, but I know what's going on.
Well, I assume every person that uses mind-altering drugs
Yeah.
would claim that, right? A guy that
Yeah.
drinks a 12-pack, he's going to go, hey, I know what's going on.
Yeah, I
He's
know
like,
what's
right?
going on. I'm alert. I'm still alert.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you testified that You still shot up the heroin though.
At his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were there between 6 and 9, and you said, you know, you drove around for a while, drinking the beer, and then shooting the heroin.
I shot up the heroin when we got to his house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and again, I'm not trying to be offensive.
No, it's okay.
Are you high right now? Somewhat high?
No.
Are you under? You're not here totally clear-headed, are you?
Yes, I am.
Are you under the effects of methadone?
Yes.
Okay.
I
and
take methadone.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I do.
And-
I'm on methadone.
Okay, and methadone in essence is a synthetic heroin, correct?
Methadone is just it's to block any triggers.
Well, no. What it is actually is a synthetic heroin that is utilized to avoid.
Well, argumentative with her. She's not. That's not. This is not relevant questioning.
Well,
He's being argumentative with her.
let me address it this way. Ask a question, but you're giving testimony instead of asking a question. You're explaining what that is. That you're not a witness.
Okay.
So
But
ask a
it's been asked and answered, Your Honor, that if she's intoxicated
rephrase the
or
question.
drugs.
Are you aware that methadone is a synthetic heroin?
No, it's not a synthetic heroin.
Okay. Are you aware that it's utilized to regulate the effects on the human body of people that are hooked to heroin?
That have been on heroin throughout the years.
Yes.
It's to keep them sober.
And so
I know what methadone is.
Okay. And so, well, let me ask you this: what effect does it have on you, methadone, as opposed to not taking it?
It's just to concentrate, just not to. It doesn't trigger me, like it doesn't cross my mind to use.
Well, the idea is, and I'm asking you, is it to reduce the need to have to use heroin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Let me just say
Mr.
something
Alanis
really quick.
Showed you a photo.
Look, I understand why he's doing what he's doing. He has to impeach her, right? So he's got to make it out like she can't, her testimony can't be credible, and she can't be relied upon to tell what happened that night because she was on mind altering substances. And the truth of it is, when somebody uses those drugs, right, it's not the same as your first time. And that's just the truth. And I believe, even when Ortiz was confessing and he was talking about Erica and what she was saying to him. So what she was saying to him in the kitchen was, it's so painful to watch. It is. I can't stand it. I know why he's doing it, and it's hard. Even, you know how I roll. But it's hard. Anyway, she was in the kitchen, and she was saying it. He's relaying this part of the conversation in Spanish, and what she was saying to him was, death is all around, or death is nearby. I think all around is, or near, something like that. Because it's hard for me to understand him when he speaks Spanish, because in the interrogation, because he's really mumbling, and it's hard for me to understand. But nearby, around, something like that. But she was yelling. Now, we've all seen the after school specials, right? When they talk about the effects these different substances have on the body, and the nodding out, right? Well, if you're nodding out, you're not yelling at somebody. So she was with it. She was taking, I don't know another way to say it, but it was like maintenance for her. Do you know what I mean? Okay, here we go.
Of Melissa, correct?
Correct.
And you said that
It's-
previously in the testimony that Melissa also worked the streets.
Yes, correct.
And that she had problems with drugs, correct?
Correct.
And she did it to support her habit by selling her body, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then you were asked about Claudine, and you testified that she also had a problem with addiction,
Correct.
and that Claudine also worked the streets to support her habit.
Correct.
And you were asked about Janelle, and you testified that Janelle also had a drug addiction, correct?
Correct.
And that Janelle worked the streets to support the drug habit.
Correct.
Now, when you asked, according to you, Mr. Ortiz, if he had seen the news about the murders, or that he had he heard about it, his response that he said he just saw it in the news. That was
I
his
mentioned it and he said, hey, that he had found out through the news.
Okay.
Yeah.
And according to you, he starts acting differently or whatever, weird, according to you. And you testified that that you heard a voice. You actually heard a voice.
What I meant by that is my inner voice, my intuition.
Okay. I get that people have gut feelings. Okay.
Yeah.
But you testified, I heard a voice. And I asked you that said what? For me to get out fast. Okay. Do you remember testifying to that? Okay. Let me just find this, okay? Okay, and then at some point, I think this is me questioning you now, and you testified that you heard a voice. And just tell me if you recall saying this. Yes, I did. Question. And that this voice told you, get out of there. Or what did the voice tell you specifically?
Just to
Answer.
get out.
To get out of the house.
Just to get out. Yeah.
And I think I asked you, and did you hear the voice in English or in Spanish? Did you hear the voice in English and Spanish? Excuse me, ma'am. Your answer was Spanish. Do you remember testifying to that?
It's not a remember if I said English or Spanish, but
Okay, and then
When you're
you were
having a
asked,
thought in
question,
your
was it a
brain, do
female
you,
Spanish
you
voice or a
hear
male
it?
yeah, I
voice?
said,
And you testified it was a male
yeah,
voice.
my ex that passed away.
Okay,
Kind of like him telling me.
so that's different than a gut feeling. So you're hearing a male voice in Spanish.
Not like hearing a voice, but like kind of him
Ma'am,
telling
if
me.
you might let me finish asking the question.
She could be allowed to answer. She
Well,
was
if I
going to
can finish
answer,
the question,
and you
Your Honor.
didn't like the response.
No, it's not
She's
that. I was
gonna
still
answer.
answering the question. I was asking the question.
One second.
Miss, you don't answer the question. She's unresponsive, Your Honor.
If I'm instructing her, you need to also wait.
Okay, that's fine.
You want me to give an instruction or not?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wait until he asks the question. You can keep asking the question, and you can ask the question. And if it's not responsive, you need to object instead of interrupting the witness, please. Go ahead and re-ask your question. Thank you.
Spicy.
My question is, did you not testify that you heard a male voice in Spanish? You
Yes,
said,
I
"Here,
did.
to get out of there."
Yes, I
Okay.
did. But it's not like a
Not
crazy
responsive,
voice.
Your Honor. I'm going to object to non-responsive.
Wait for the next question, man.
And when you claim you went to the trooper, you were high, right? When you went to the trooper? on
Yes, I
September
was.
14th, 2018?
Yeah.
I mean, they found everything that she said that would be in the vehicle in the vehicle. Her purse was in the vehicle. Her shirt was in the vehicle. So what part of that was she making up? I don't give a rat's fat kneecap if she heard 80 voices and they spoke to her in Spanish and English. And you've had-
Let's go along the lines of what you said. That
Hold on a minute. I'm going to
They
pause this really
bring
quick.
heroin.
Also, because let me just say this, Mr. Counselor. This is another thing that you did throughout the, hey, Callie, good to see you, babe. This is another thing that you did throughout the trial that I found infuriating. This flipping through the dadgum documents. Look, sir, now you have had the entire time and lunch. That's the nice thing about it. He passed the witness and then and then they went to lunch. So you had a whole hour, right? So why didn't you mark these pages in some type of way so that we all don't have to sit here watching you fumble around and look for the paperwork, sir? And under any other type of circumstances, I would enjoy how snarky he is. He's incredibly snarky, right? But I don't like the way I don't like how he's doing it to this girl. I just don't like it. I don't like it. All right, here we go. My bad. Let me push play. Make him a man.
tracking those amounts aren't the best thing for the buyer. You agree with that, correct?
Yes, I agree, of
Okay.
course.
Now, on September the 14th, 2018, when you testified today, you were very graphic about it on the questions of Mr. Alanis,
Mhm.
and you said that you were demonstrating for him. I'm just trying to refresh your memory. And you said that according to you, Mr. Alanis pointed the gun to your face, correct? And you put the gun to your face.
That Ortiz had pointed the gun.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
And you remember that as clear as day.
Of course.
Yes, because I guess not too many of us get a gun pointed at our face.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're as sure of that today as you are of any of your other testimony,
Of course, it's unforgettable.
because you're testifying under oath, right?
I'm here to say the truth and nothing but the truth.
Okay. And that's something that's very memorable. You just said that now.
Yeah.
Back on October the 3rd of 2019, you were also on the roads before this judge to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, correct?
Correct.
And if I were to tell you that you were asked, and where did he point it to you? You said, right here. Where? To your chest. Answer, yes. You're pointing to your chest. Yes. Do you recall testifying to that, ma'am?
No.
Well, are you lying today or were you lying then?
Never.
Ay, Dios.
If I may just make some real quick review here.
Exactly. I've learned a lot. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say, but the struggle is real today with Higuero. I don't know what's going on with me.
The witness, Your Honor? Ms. Pena, I'm going to show you an official copy of a transcript dated the 3rd day of October 2019 in this cost number of the state of Texas versus Juan David Ortiz. And it's certified by a certified court reporter wherein he swears that this is accurate.
Where what?
Wherein it certifies that this is an accurate reporting of the proceedings on that date.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
appreciate
And
some
I'm
snark,
just gonna
but
show
the
you
way I don't like
The
I don't like
transcript
how
where
he's
you were
doing it to
asked.
her.
Can you read that for me? Just this part right here.
Where did he point it to? Right here, right to your chest. It's just same
But
thing.
ma'am, I'm just asking you. Can you read it and see what you said?
To your chest, yes. You're pointing to your chest, yes.
Okay, that's all I needed to. Okay.
And to be quite clear, what difference does it make whether he pointed it at her head or he pointed it at her chest? Either way, it was a threat. It was loaded. Are you going to ask her another question sometime in my lifetime, sir?
Now, you also testified that you've never engaged in violence because you said criminal trespass and the like, but not violence. Is that what you testified to?
I'm going to object. That's a mischaracterization. She answered that she had been arrested for violence. I had asked her that question.
You want to rephrase the question?
Or have you ever been convicted for criminal acts of violence?
Violence.
Well, let me ask
I
you
had
this.
probation for aggravated assault.
That's
Would you think that that's a violent offense? Or you
yeah,
think
but if
it's a
she
physical
got deferred adjudication, she wasn't
It was-
convicted. So don't be a
It
dick.
was not physical. It was something I said.
Okay. Aggravated assault for something you said.
Aggravated assault for something I said. Yeah.
And is this the assault on a peace officer? On a
No.
policeman?
This was a family violence.
But on April the 30th of 2019, do you not have one for assault on a peace officer?
I don't recall.
So you're telling me that you've been arrested and you don't recall what charges you've been arrested for?
I've been in and out. But that I had a warrant for what?
Assault on a peace officer.
No.
You know what a peace officer is? A cop.
A cop, yes.
And so
No.
according to this, you assaulted a police officer on April the 30th of 2019. Do you have any recollection of that?
I don't recall.
Because you were high?
Maybe. Probably, I don't recall.
Does it affect-
Sorry.
do drugs affect your memory? Your ability to remember things accurately? Maybe that's why?
A little bit. I don't recall that.
Or a lot?
It's been a long time.
So 2019 is after 2018. You realize that, right?
Well, I don't recall. A lot of things have happened. It's a lot to take in.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
You say it's a lot to take in. What after this happened to you?
Yeah.
How did it affect you?
I got diagnosed with PTSD, severe anxiety, and depression.
Did you feel your life was threatened?
I'm going to object to the leading, Your Honor, and not relevant, Your Honor.
Rephrase.
Couple of things. You started to explain about the voice.
Yeah.
I'd like for you to explain. Let me ask you this. Was the voice an audible voice like my voice is now?
No.
Did you hear the voice from the sky?
No.
Did you hear the
I'm
voice?
going to object to leading, Your Honor.
That's
Like an
it's
inner
not
voice.
leading.
Like a gut feeling, just like
And you also mentioned it was a male's
Yeah.
a male's voice. Tell the jury about that.
Kind of
What-
like
what
my
do you mean?
intuition, because me and him lasted for a very long time.
Who is
and
him? Who
My
is-
ex that passed away, I remember mentioning him that night. And I just had an intuition of him saying, get out.
So the inner voice that you tried to explain to Mr. Perez is your ex who passed away
Yeah,
that told you, Erica, get out.
just, yeah. Not like a loud voice.
Which
like an-
question? I've
Inner
learned a
voice.
lot.
Your inner
Babe.
voice.
Which
Yeah.
one? They asked a
But
bunch.
that's just
What's your question,
an
honey?
image. It's,
Wait for the next question.
And you listened to your inner voice.
I listen to my inner voice, to my gut feeling.
What other signs did you have that when you say he's acting weird? Can you give us any examples when you say he's acting weird?
I've been saying it over and over. He was just not himself that day, very nervous.
At the time that he picked you up, did the topic come up about
I brought it up when we were by Clark, and the only thing he said was, what's the word? What are they saying? And that's about it. Nothing else.
what's the word?
Yeah. I told him that they had been picking up people to
Oh,
investigate.
hold on. You said he asked you what's the word.
Yeah.
When you say that, what did you take it to mean? When he asked you what's
Like,
the word?
what's going on?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you respond to that?
I just said that they were picking people up.
Who was picking people up?
Investigators. Everyone knew.
Up until this time, and wait for my question. Up until this time, September the 14th, did you have knowledge of some of the girls on the boulevard being picked up by investigators?
Yes.
Had you been picked up for
No,
questioning?
I had not been picked up.
Okay. Were you ever asked by Ortiz if you had been picked up?
No.
And you've also testified that, and this came up. How long have you been taking methadone?
Right now?
Yes.
Like 8 months,
Okay.
6 months.
Have you relapsed during the time that you've been taking methadone?
No.
How long have you been sober?
I've been sober since January.
Good for
Are you
you.
currently working?
No, I was working.
What were you doing?
I was a housekeeper in Hotel Marriott Residence Inn.
And how are you maintaining your living at this point in time?
I have housing, and I'm seeing someone that's helping me.
Are you doing better today since 2018 when this happened?
Yeah. In the beginning, it was
Wait for the next question.
If you can explain the difference between where you're at now in your life and when it happened.
Wait a second. Sustain.
The issue about the gun, Mr. Perez asked. Were you lying on October the 3rd of 2019 at that hearing?
no.
You started to explain. I'd like for you to explain to the jury what you meant when the gun was being pointed at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Go
I've
ahead.
learned a lot.
What I mean, he just pulled it out.
Not
and
this
didn't say
attorney,
anything.
but the other one. Yeah.
Just right in front of me.
At your person. At you.
Yes,
At you,
at
Erica.
me.
Pena.
Yes.
Okay.
And as soon as he did that, I opened the door. Some way, somehow, I was able to get off my shirt, and I run to the store.
And we've been through that. We've been through that.
Yeah.
But when he's pointing the gun at you, at
Yeah.
your person, at your head, your face, your body, your chest, wherever he's pointing it at, you said it was with his left hand, correct?
Yeah.
And he's holding your blouse with the right.
Yes.
What are your feelings at that moment?
Scared.
Scared for
For
your
my
life?
life.
No further questions.
Any further proffer?
Are you going to answer the judge?
Okay, you can sit down.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. So there's Miss Pena. Poor thing. I feel awful for her. I do. I feel awful for her. I'm trying to think how to say this because I get frustrated. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, what he did was he pointed a weapon, a loaded weapon, which, to be fair, she may not have known whether, but if somebody were pointing a gun at you, would you assume that it was loaded? I mean, otherwise, what would be the point? You know what I mean? So, regardless of where he was pointing it, which body part specifically he was pointing it at, he was pointing a gun at her. Of course, she was in fear. Of course, she was scared. Good night, Corky. Thanks for hanging in tonight, babe. I'm going to be live in the morning because we're going to do the closing arguments because I want to hear them. But I wanted to just take a moment to talk to you guys about non-true crime, something non-true crime related. I mean, it is true crime related, but not all. Just let me tell you. Okay. All right. So I know that you guys watched the opening because you're sort of forced to, because I play it every freaking time I go live. And in the middle there is the new tier level. And I want you guys to know that I hemmed and hawed over adding that level and what the amount should be and all of that. I mean, it took me a long time. I've been thinking about doing it for months. And it was a hard decision because I don't want anybody ever to feel like I'm leaving them or that they're left out, because that's not how I feel about any. I mean, everybody that's in here right now, all 9 of you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you being here immensely, tremendously. And I just wanted to talk really quickly about what I intend to offer through with that 5 Ever Club membership. So I want to do Sunday night true crime trivia. Okay. And I want to do, and then my members only videos. Okay. And I have, I want to do the Casey Anthony behind the docu-series. I want to put there. But I want to finish up Dahmer, and I have some other ones that I'm working on. But I'm one of those people who enjoys a sample, right? And so most of you guys have been here with me since the very beginning, and you kind of know what you're getting when you get a video. Well, I want to give you guys a sample, and one of the samples that I want to give you guys is this. I want to talk about the Chandler Halderson case. Specifically, I want to talk about Catherine Cat Millender. All right. And the reason I want to talk about her is because Rottweiler Investigations, Momo's channel, released the jail calls. Okay. And if you haven't listened to those, please go over. Let me get her link for you guys. Please go over to her channel and give those a listen. Because it greatly intrigued me. And the whole reason that she requested the jail calls to begin with is because, remember when I was covering the case and we were watching the trial, and I'm almost through Kat's testimony, and I'm like 99% sure that it's mentioned after her testimony, but I cannot remember who brings it up, whether it's the prosecution or the defense. Let me type this in really quick. I'll spell it wrong if I talk at the same time. All right. Anyway, they brought it up, and what they said was that they had a meeting about these jail calls, right? So right away, me and Mo, who are nosy Parkers, right, were like, what? We thought they were going to play them, and then they ended up not playing them. And so Mo was like, I wonder what's on those calls that would necessitate a meeting. Okay. So, she requested them. And we are nosy Parker Schmida, and I know you know that I've said that. That is one of my genisms. I know I've said that lots of times. Nosy Parker. So she got them, she posted them, but she didn't get them all. Some of the jail calls were redacted. Some of the JPay messages were redacted, and we don't know why. Now, I have some thoughts, and I want to make do a video for you guys. I want to like break it down, and we're going to just it's not just going to be where I do the video and then that's that. Like, I want to have a discussion about it because I want to present it to you guys, and I want to know what you guys think about it. Okay. So that is the kind of stuff that I want to do on the 5 ever tier. More of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like more access to me, if that makes sense. Like the cases that I'm really, really, really intrigued by and really, really passionate about. Like all the cases I cover, I'm interested in, right? But there are always cases that I are more, for whatever they're more, and I'm more intrigued by some than others. And this Chandler Halderson one has got me, and it's had me for a while, but I was waiting on Dane County to see if they were going to release these jail calls and the JPays. And now that they have, I've been thinking, I've been mulling it over, and I've hemmed and hawed and gone back and forth, so, but but that's the kind of stuff that you guys, I'm going to put at the $9.99 tier, the 5 ever club. And like I said, the other thing that I want to do is weekly true crime trivia Sundays. I like to do it. I thought Sunday is a good night because it's not, the week is tough, right? And then Sunday night's a good night to like just chill and have fun before you have to start back up with the work week, right? So I thought Sunday nights would be good. Now, obviously, if it's going to take a minute for me to be able to do them, because if I have a 1-5 ever tier member, how fun is Sunday night trivia going to be, with just one person? But I want to give you, that's why I'm going to do this Chandler video, because I want you guys to see the kind of stuff that you're going to be getting at that tier. And I'm working on other perks that I'll add, but I just wanted to explain that to you guys, what I want to do with it, why I put it at that price. Shmita will tell you I hemmed and hawed over it. Like it took me, I've been talking about it, thinking about it. And it took me a while to just finally, do it. I don't know if you guys were watching on Sunday, but I started out having the Casey Anthony be a members only chat. And then I felt guilty, and I went back and forth and put it between members and subscribers. And finally I was just like, you know what? Let's let everybody be able to chat, right? Because I don't want anybody to be left out or feel like they're left out. And but anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. And also, there's another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I read an incredibly well-written, thought-provoking article, and it was talking about the effects that social media could potentially have on trials in the United States and them being able to find a fair and impartial jury. Sam, you would God love you, Sam. So what I was reading, and it made me think about this, right? How I am curious about that. What is going to happen with these cases like the Lori Vallow trial? And because what's happened with Vallow Daybell is at a tremendous, yes, Callie, at a tremendous expense. They are having to move the trial. Now, see, with Casey Anthony, what they did is they saved money by not completely changing venues where it's held in a completely different place, right? Instead, they bust jurors in a jury pool, right, and then pick the jury from people who opted in for jury or registered to vote and opted in for jury duty from Pinellas County, which is about, I suppose I mean, because Pinellas County is kind of big, but it's about like an hour and a half or so away from Orange County, where she was. And I am endlessly fascinated by what is going on in the Idaho 4 case. I am. I mean, it's a shocking crime to be sure. And I think that there are so many wonderful creators that are covering the case as it unfolds that I don't need to be one of them. I'll wait. And when something big breaks, yeah, we'll talk about it. But I really think that I've found my niche in like the deep dives and in the covering the trials, talking about what's going on in the trials. And so, you know, if you guys ever want to have like a night where we talk about it, yeah, that's cool. We can, we can talk about it or whatever. I don't, or, if you want my opinion, it's just, it's very difficult. And I have to admit, I don't think that I'm good actually at covering an open case. Can I talk about it? Of course I can. I just don't know that I'm good at covering it. I don't, I don't feel like I do it justice. So that's, but I was interested in the probable cause affidavit in the Delphi case. That fascinates me because it seems like they really had their man from the beginning, which if you think about it, that's not incredibly uncommon, especially when cases go on long, long time like this, like the Delphi case has, being unsolved. Thank you, Callie. But they had to go back to the beginning. And I think when they did that, that's when I think that they really got sidetracked by that Keegan Klein guy, which, I mean, they had to follow it. It was a good lead and they followed it until it was exhausted. Right. And, I want to remind everybody with respect to that probable cause. So when the DA took his or her evidence to, this is just generally speaking, to a judge, right, to issue a warrant for arrest, to get an indictment, they show their strongest evidence, but they don't show all of it. The only time that the prosecution or the state has to show all of their cards is once a suspect has been charged, indicted after the arraignment, right? And they're going through the pretrial motions. That's when the defense team will motion for discovery. And that's when the state has to turn over each and everything that was part of the investigation, including exculpatory evidence. If they don't turn over exculpatory evidence, what is that called, class? So with the Delphi case, I personally think that what they did was they showed what they needed to show because they knew that there was a chance that the probable cause would be unsealed and that the public would get a hold of it, right? And they don't want to show all of their cards. So what do they show? Very good, Shamita. Very good, Callie. Brady violation. It's exactly what it is. That's an actual Brady violation. Not forgetting, not asking a specific question on a lie detector. I can't with that. I wish I was less petty and I could let that go, but for whatever reason, that just irks the shit out of me. Anyway, so what they did was they showed just enough. It was the unspent bullet that connected Alan to the crime scene, right? And to a specific firearm, that that he admitted nobody else ever had access to. Okay. And so that's what they showed. But I don't think for one hot second, and I don't think anybody else should either, that that's all that they have. We don't know what they have. And as far as the Idaho 4 case goes, this is just my opinion. And you can take it for what it's worth. But I'm keeping up with it. I'm watching what's being released. And I think that there is such little verifiable facts that have come out, right? That I don't see how anybody, no, let me put this a different way. I don't know how there could be a suspect at this point. Because there's a whole lot of things we don't know. And now I know that Mr. I always want to say Gonzalez, but that's not his name. It's like you know which father I'm talking about. Let me look it up because it's going to piss me off if I don't, because I never, hold on. I'm struggling tonight talking for whatever reason. Like it's an issue for, hold on, let me look at this. I don't know what my problem is. I don't know why I can't pronounce their last name. It's not a difficult last name. Hold on. Help me out here. I know you guys know it. Let me hit the Googles. Goncalves, right? Goncalves. Mr. Goncalves. Okay. I know that he's made some statements in the media, and I have to say, I've said it before. Thank you, Callie. Some of the things that he said, like when he said their means don't match, and he's clarified it a little bit. This is the issue. Okay. I don't know him, right? And unless he comes out and states specifically and emphatically what he means, I wouldn't even begin to be able to guess at what he's trying to say, what he's trying to convey with that. I think that I feel awful for the families. I do. Because I think that they're very, very worried. They have that statistic in their brain about the 48 hours, but this is not, that statistic I don't think applies to a quadruple homicide. I think you're allowed more time in a quadruple homicide than 48 hours. So I feel like I know that they're worried that people are going to forget their loved ones, and that other people's lives have gone on. And I know sort of what they're feeling like, because I remember this is not the same thing, but loss is lost. Loss is loss, right? When I lost my mom, okay, it was unexpected. It wasn't like she was sick. Um, but it felt like for me, the world was continuing to spin and I was stuck initially. And I would imagine that that's what the families are feeling. And I think they're very, very worried that they that their loved ones are going to be forgotten, but they're not. There's a ton of people that care and are and want to see this case solved, but I worry because it's just something that frequently happens when law enforcement sees families talking to the media. The first thing that they do is stop talking to the families or limit the information they give to the family for fear that they would inadvertently say something, right, that they don't want out. And they just don't want to take the risk. And to be fair, I understand that law enforcement has a job to do. So I'm also not comfortable I for me, the way that I look at a crime when it happens is, first I try to get to know who the victims are, right? Because you can't know why a person was unalived if you don't know the person. Do you know what I mean? Especially in a situation like this. These are college kids. They are not um, what law enforcement would class as high risk individuals, right? Um, they don't live a risky lifestyle, as it were. They're just, I mean, they might party and do some things, but their risk of violence is relatively low, you know. But their circle of friends is huge, and that's the thing about being that age. Remember when you were that age, you have a, a core circle of people, but as you move through your 20s, those core circle of people ebb and flow. And at the end of it, by the time you reach your mid 20s, most of the time, only one person, if you're lucky, from the core circle remains. Usually, you have a whole new set of friends, and that's just the way it is because it's part of growing up and moving, in your own direction and all that stuff. So it's normal. But in the interim, there are so many people. And how can you tell who's the inner circle and who's not? If you look at social media, right? Just because somebody is texting them, and you know what I'm saying? Um, does that mean that they're incredibly close? Depends on what they're texting, depends on what they're DMing. You know what I mean? And that's what law enforcement has to wade through. Okay. Not only that, but I don't know how much evidence was collected from that house, but all evidence goes to the same place. It all goes through a crime lab. And the crime lab is working on multiple cases at one time. And when we had the pandemic, everything we're still not caught up from it. Like I've noticed just even simple things, groceries, okay? How stuff that is standard that I used to buy every single week as part everybody has it, right? They've got their things, their essentials, right? That they buy over and over and over every single time they go grocery shopping, right? But what I've noticed is my essentials, I can't get them every single week like I used to be able to. And it took me a minute to figure it out. And I realized it's not because we don't have food. The United States isn't in a shortage of food. It's just that the things that we would be purchasing today, and I'm talking about like canned goods, frozen goods, stuff like that, processed food, would have been processed during the pandemic for the being put on the shelves now. And so that's everything has we're just we're delayed on it. We were delayed on a lot of things. We're delayed in the courts, all the things, the whole world ground to almost a complete stop for a minute there. And we have to be patient. I think that justice will come, but this is going to be a complex case. And I would rather them take their time and get it right than rush and get it wrong. So that's my thoughts on that. I feel like I had something else I wanted to talk to you guys about, but now it's gone completely out of my brain. So I guess all that's left is for me to bid you all a fond adieu and see you all tomorrow. So I'm going to go live tomorrow morning because I want to cover the closing arguments. I'm curious how long this jury will be out, though, because really this is a fairly quick trial in the scheme of things. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday night, and I will see you tomorrow for the closing arguments portion of the Border Patrol serial killer trial. All right? Thanks, you guys, for being here. If you haven't done so already, give your girl a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. All right, y'all take care. Bye.